Okay. Well, I posted one and it went through. So it's YouTube takes for freaking ever. X is a lot faster. But I can make these and then post them on both, and they'll be fine. Um, and with that said, I suppose I feel dabs. Yeah, little bowl. Um, this is cheesequake I'm celebrating with. So I could talk to you about the thing I found about in growing. Number one, if you're first starting growing, it's like you don't have the advantages that you gain after you've grown for several years and you've learned things and you gained access to different techniques, different equipment, different ways of growing, and you just mature. You get better. I've been doing this for frickin' ever. My first grow was in 1979 when I started. Um, by 1980, I had my first accident. I had three accidents, which, yeah, we'll get into that another time. But the thing I found in growing, number one, is especially in the bloom cycle. In the grow cycle, it's not as desperate when you're growing indoors, not outdoors. Growing indoors, your lighting cycles and their lights are very particular as far as the timing, the settings, the light uh, frequency, whatever uh, that's emitting to the plant. Meaning you want to have a little bit duller, whatever it is, lower, whatever. No, you want to have higher K on your lighting, whatever. This is my head injury. This is why I shouldn't talk about things of asking questions and getting answers from me is difficult. Um, but anyway, what I was trying to get to is when growing, the light cycles are very essential, and especially if you're going indoors and you have a power outage, which lately more and more often, I don't care where you live in this goddamn state. Excuse me for swearing. I'll try to get that cleared. Um, we have power outages. Maybe just for an hour or two until they get turned back on. It could be for a day. Depending on where you live. Out here in the Northwest, it's like it's usually for a fairly short period of time, 4, 5, 6, 8 hours. If it's could be longer, but it's like whatever. Um, the thought is, especially in the bloom cycle, any light disturbance can ruin your crop. So you back up with battery backup or with solar systems in order to compensate for that. Well, um, Subcool had just got ripped off for like the eighth time since I knew him. It's like the girl that was living with him, stole everything, and it's like you kick him out. That in doing so, he lost the grow and the house that he was living in, and he moved into a trailer, and it was in that transition period. He was on the phone with me, and we were talking, and I can't remember what plant it was in bloom at the time, and he said, "Could you, break away and be a driver for me?" He needed someone to drive his van for him. And but anyway, that's another whole fucking story. Um, anyway, the thing I learned is that in the bloom cycle, if you have any kind of a power outage, that's terrible. So he was in. Okay, that's right. He was in the van. Um, as he was in the van and he was retrofitting it for his comfort and usability, because he bought it used or whatever. And I started, because I wouldn't go down and drive with him. He said, "Ah, no problem. I've got, can't remember her name, but it's like, she's on the way, to give me a hand, anyway." And that's who took care of him before he passed. And for that reason in itself, I'm glad that she did and I didn't. Anyway, because I would have had that on my mind forever. Anyway, the light that he needed electrical power in that van, in that bus or whatever he called it. And I looked into home generators, battery backups, stuff like that. And at the time, this is only, whatever, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, maybe, no, 7. And I picked up a 5,000 watt or whatever, you know, big battery backup thing. It's pretty huge. It has like 4 outlets on it, 20 amp outlets. And I figured that would be way more in what I needed for my grow room. And it was. The problem being, I didn't know that much about them then, and it's like, I've had like 1 or 2 outages and tried to use it after that, and it did not work. And I did not use it, and I just kept it charged and sitting there in the corner forever. Found out now, after I've got an Anker Solix, the new series of battery backups. These things are incredible, and they work so much better because the frequency that they use is pure sine wave, and it's the most clean signal that you could possibly give to your any kind of electrical equipment. It works great for sound equipment, which is what I like to do a lot of, and for lighting for the plants. Um, Machine that I bought, the battery backup, is not sine wave. It's not pure, and it's dirty as hell, and you can tell. Um, it also is not able to take the surge that is required from high pressure sodium 1,000 watt to bulbs triggering at the same time. That takes, I don't know how many amps, but it takes a lot. It takes for a long time because it takes a long time to cycle. And when you have the power just go out, it takes a long time for it to cool down. And so there's a whole bunch of problems that if you have high pressure sodium lights. They work nice. They're kind of old school. I looked into cob lighting. I looked into bulbs, LED bulbs, and this was 6 years ago, 7 years ago that I started. Yeah, maybe 8 years ago. I don't remember. Fucking started looking into it, and because it was the thing that the people were talking about, and it's like it really did change the industry. It's like it's pretty much all anyone uses anymore is LEDs. I chose the cob LEDs. They're brighter. They're a little bit hotter. Um, like so it's like they do put out heat. So you have to dissipate for that a little bit more, I think. But they produce a huge array, and it's very direct, as all LEDs are. It's one way. Um, and I guess the lights themselves, they're rated at 100 watt. They draw, I found by using these battery backups, very little power, 70 amps, 70 watts. I get amps and watts all screwed up, so don't don't learn from me. Just you know, take what I'm saying for fun. Anyway, uh, oh, the the main thing is that I have learned is to learn. These are whatever 2000s, which are there's 1500 I would say uh, watts that you can pull from it, you know, easily. That's about the most that you want to pull at a single time. Um, it won't even bother it, and it'll go forever. Until you run the battery out, and you do have to recharge the batteries and stuff like that, and they are expandable, so it's like, there's some few things to do, which we'll be getting into later once we get them all. But um you know I've spent 11 minutes talking. I don't think anyone will listen to me for that long, so it's like, I'll do more of these. I'll see if this one goes through, and I'll show you what I'm doing, in my grow room, which is what I'm trying to do. Trying to get these things, I'm trying to go live on YouTube, but it's like they say, they told me I had to get 100 people, and then now I got, now they told me I got to get 1,000 people before I can go live. So whatever, when it happens, it happens. If not, I'll keep on doing these. It's like, hopefully education, because I got a lot to share. Anyway, have a dank night, dank day. This is Saturday, June 13th. See ya.